5:35, Monday, July 2nd, 2024, calling meeting for Economic Development Commission for July's meeting together. We have present, we have Dan, Peter, myself, Paul, Tom, Carrie. Nobody's joined via
Nobody
Zoom.
joined yet.
Okay. I was not here for last meeting. We do have Peter, Paul, Tom, and Carrie. You were all here at the last
Correct.
meeting. Have you had a chance to review the minutes of that?
Yes.
Is there any corrections?
Paul wasn't there, correction. This Friday's on the farmer's market.
Thank you. Where's that? And this is the corrected version?
No, we have to amend it at this meeting.
Yep, so on the second page, the top line, market will run August through September, 9 Mondays, and that's a Friday.
Okay. We have a motion to amend that for that correction.
So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes with the edit of on page 2, line 1, under farmer's market, change Mondays to Fridays.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for reminding me of that.
And then you will post the revision. We don't have general public today.
Do we need to approve? We just,
Oh yeah, you did just vote to make the correction, so you have to vote to approve
Yep,
from there.
sure, yeah.
That's true, thank you, Peter.
make a motion to approve last month's minutes?
Second that. With the one edit that we
Yes.
discussed. Okay.
And then all in favor.
I'm
still in
favor.
I'm even more
Yeah.
favorable than you.
It's kind of tricky sometimes. All right. General public, we don't have anybody from the general public today. Move on from there. The report, I didn't get a chance to, Robin's not here. Carrie, I just saw your email over the weekend that has to do with the connectivity grant.
Pardon?
The connectivity grant you were emailing me on, is that correct?
There was a meeting last week with Eden, Robin, and a few other stakeholders in the town's department heads that we have an opportunity to apply for a grant that has to be submitted this Friday. So is that the grant, David?
I don't know,
Me either.
because I wasn't brought
Right.
into it. And what was the background?
It's a, state level grant. Not sure what the cap is on the dollars and cents, but what they're looking for is input from department heads and certainly us to offer suggestions on what we would like to see the grant application go towards.
Remind me of the subject again?
So it's
connectivity?
It's infrastructure-related grant funding. One of the things, for example, that got talked about is, do we need a new public safety building? All right.
Yeah.
And so, I said that we would discuss it at tonight's meeting and get something, if we could, come up with something that we agreed on that makes sense for everybody.
We've already gone on record, I think, really sponsored by you, to talk
Right.
about the water.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's a no-brainer, I think,
Yeah.
right? We've already shown our interest in that.
Yeah. So here's my thought, and and David, can we talk about it this,
Yeah.
or do we have to make a motion to add it to?
No.
Or is it kind of an open subject?
It's not,
right?
because we're talking about business retention, visitation,
Okay.
tax incentive policies, marketing.
Yep.
I think we're okay with putting it just on other business.
Yeah.
What I'll do is, I'm gonna, for the next agenda, what I'll just put in is, more of like an open for discussion,
Right.
item on
Okay.
there. So if someone feels it didn't cover it,
certainly new business.
Yeah.
Right, new
Got it.
business, right?
So my feeling is right now, we have the water main comes up Nicholson, but stops maybe roughly a quarter of a mile from the intersection of East Street.
Yeah.
Then we turn the corner on East Street, there's hydrants going up East Street, Crystal Drive, the new subdivision, Bramble Bush, and where the houses are going, they have water, and then it stops right at that new subdivision. So what my feeling is that we should continue, make a connection, or submit a grant application that connects where the water main ends on Nicholson, make a cross connection on East Street, and then continue on East Street, and then loop down. Marks is on, what's the name of that street? I can never remember. Russell, thank you. And then go down Russell to Perimeter Road where I believe the main ends.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
And from a real estate perspective, I know people have wanted that
Yeah,
for a long time.
yeah.
So,
So my one comment on that, so I have a map here that shows all of our different zoning areas, and the Commerce Park transition, which includes Marks on that corner.
Yes.
The next two properties north of there are also.
So we should include.
So if we
that
take a right
piece.
on Russell,
Yeah.
we leave those two out.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wonder if we should just go another 100 feet
I think
beyond
so.
Russell to pick
Yeah,
up those
or,
two.
yes.
That's for sale now. That
Right.
land is for sale.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yes.
You know, so that would make sense, and I
Correct.
think it's
Here,
built.
Russell.
Right, right.
So-
I think that, in lieu of the town doing it themselves, which would probably almost cost prohibitive, if we can get a grant of some shape or form, I think it would be a great thing, and hopefully break some of the hesitancy for people to come into that zone.
How much of a grant do we know the dollars? So what it would cost?
That
per-
wasn't discussed,
Oh, that
so I
was
don't
not-
know
no,
if
okay.
there's a cap or there's not a cap, so I could find all that out from Robin, and I'll email everybody to let you know if there is a cap on it.
How do they price out that distance? Because you're talking probably another mile, all said and done.
Yeah,
at
so
least,
what I would do is I'd kind of measure it out, and then I'd call MDC, and I think they could give me a per foot price, that they would see that it would cost.
Having said that, there's a lot of, I've come to realize there's a lot of steps to these things. So let's say it's $5 million to put in, whatever the number is. There's interim steps that are also supportive. There's a plan, there's a study, all those things have to be done. So even if we got a study done or a plan, whatever the interim steps are, we're still moving the ball down the field.
Right, right,
I
yeah.
mean, when it maybe, so even if it's partial, that's still a win for us.
Oh, yeah. No,
well, I think you got to
absolutely.
understand the cost to see if the grants can even cover something like that. So if you understand your length, and then you talk to MDC to get an understanding of cost per foot, and then that will first tell you whether, it kind of gives you immediately what would be.
If we're in the
parameters
yeah.
of it. And then secondarily, I don't know if, when we talked about, we did the village center planning, did it cover that area?
I don't think so. I think we're just looked at literally this and School Street, right? And kind of ended at Route 20.
Right.
I only asked because you do have that property that's going residential, and you do have, the plaza over there on East Street. So I didn't know if it included that.
Yeah, well, right now, East Street has hydrants until you get to the new Bramble Bush,
Right. Right.
So it's kind of, the plaza already is covered in a roundabout way off of East Street.
Yeah.
But we would, like I said, we'd like to bring it up the rest of Nicholson and make a cross connection in
Right.
East Street.
I was just curious whether it was addressed in the
Village center plan.
village center.
Certainly, it made a reference to improving town utilities to make it easier for developers, but I don't think it was specific to this.
Because that's pushing out beyond the village center plan.
Yeah, this is
So-
definitely, this is the
Though, the village center
transition.
plan talks about the number of people within a certain radius.
Sure.
So if you do something like this, and it is going to attract more residential developments, right?
Yeah.
Or mixed-use developments, now you're starting to be able to accommodate that concentration need in order to really now act on what is brought up in the village center plan.
Right,
Because
right.
you're
Makes it more feasible for-
yeah,
right,
makes it
you're
more feasible,
increasing
yeah.
density to what is going to be necessary in order to accomplish that.
So just to be clear, are we saying East Street to the town line?
Well, do we want to do that? What is all that, is that all zoned as transition?
Commerce
Both
Park
sides of the
transition.
road?
Yep,
They are, okay. So I would say we'd be nearsighted if we didn't, right?
right, that's what I'm thinking. And I just wonder, on the Suffield side, I wonder if there's utilities on that side?
I don't think so.
Would it hit Sheldon?
Yeah. I don't know. It's awful rural, probably not.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Where's the
It
where's the
doesn't-
line? Is it where the brook is, that crosses under the road there, or where is it?
It's a crazy line there because it ends before the brook. If you go drive up there, you'll see the pavement, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When The two towns
It changed,
break it.
yeah.
But when you go past the golf course, I'm trying to remember, there's a left turn up there.
Okay.
And you actually go from Suffield and drive back into
Back
East
into-
Granby. There's
okay.
like 3 houses
Oh, wow.
on
Yeah.
a small road up there.
Okay.
It's fine.
What's the name of that?
And so up East Street in Nicholson also?
Yeah, Nicholson. Right now, the water comes up Nicholson to, there's that little bit of industrial building in there on the right-hand side, like right across, the cemetery's across the street, and there's some commercial
Yes.
buildings in there. It ends there. So that apartment complex that's proposed, that would not be covered by water. That's short of that, so.
All right, so what's our actions? We're writing a letter, are we going to rely on the minutes to carry our message? How do we
Well,
engage
what
here?
I
I
think
would-
there's some research, right?
But we've got till this
There's a
Friday.
level of, we have until this Friday.
Yeah, Friday's the drop dead date that we were given to get our ideas in.
Is that in the form of just an official letter saying that we are interested in pursuing a grant?
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. They're just looking for a short narrative to, put some meat on the bone of exactly what everybody wants.
I think we can easily say to promote a development of our Commerce Park transition zone, extend, we're basically asking to have fire protection or water cover the balance of our transition zone.
You're extending infrastructure.
Yeah. And it's really specifically for that zone,
Yeah.
which makes sense. I mean, in my mind, that's a great place for some development. It's
Yeah, I mean,
back
That's gonna
off the
happen.
road a little bit.
It's all for sale. Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
mean,
great place.
there's a little bit on 20, and that's the next
Yeah.
large plots that we have that would be nice to develop, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, for time's sake, I'm gonna have to let the minutes handle our decision. I'm leaving for a little bit this week, so I don't have time to write up a letter, per se.
Maybe if you want, I'd write something up and get it to you, and if you want to execute it.
Sure. I would just need it by like Wednesday morning at the
Yeah,
latest.
I'm on the road this week, so I'll do it tomorrow before I get on the
Okay.
road.
And if that falls apart at all, I'm the vice chairman, so I
Yeah.
can just do it as well. So
Okay.
if
Yeah.
that's somehow.
Also, I'll,
Yep.
David and CC you.
Yep.
That works.
Yep.
All right, I mean, is everybody kind of on board with this being one of the recommendations from the EDC?
Absolutely.
Was there anything else that we could think of? So you're looking for more than one idea or just one?
Well, I know one of the big ideas was, new public safety building.
Yeah.
I don't think it's large enough in scope such as this. I mean, this
Right.
has a direct impact of bringing funds, quite a bit of tax dollars.
has a nice
in if we
ROI, I
go.
think.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree with you.
That's a gift I would keep on giving for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the other grants, they kind of hit the other things that was in my mind. Those look like they're already in process,
Yeah.
you know, so,
Carrie, you talked once about it was some town rating, and I don't remember if it was an insurance rating or what, that was in jeopardy because of the percentage of our town that was covered by firefighting.
Like a 4 to a 9, things like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. This damn thing.
And with that in mind, I know you said we couldn't count the fire or the water on Metacomet.
Yeah, so.
Would it be beneficial to get that approved, whatever that means? Would that be helpful? I mean, is that another project that we should?
So what do you mean by Metacomet by approved?
Yep, so it's, as I recall your conversation, we know the water's there.
Right.
But it's not monitored or approved or tested, I believe it was, tested.
Right.
So you can't use that for firefighting because you don't know what you have there.
Right.
If as part of this grant, we said that there's the testing, the town's going to pay for the testing.
Right.
To get it done. So now you can take that into account for firefighting, but also as it goes with the percentage of the town that's covered by firefighting. Is that beneficial for us to do that?
It would be beneficial. Any extension of the water system is going to make great improvements to our rating. Because what we have is what's called a 5X. It's a split classification. So anywhere that we have hydrants, any building that's within 1,000 feet of those is a class 5. Any structures, residential, commercial, industrial, whatever, that don't fall into that are at a different insurance rate, at that X rate, which means they're more than 1,000. You know, and it could be as much as a 20% difference.
I mean, it seems to me that testing a system would be pretty cheap, compared to laying pipe.
It is.
But it's a private system, though.
It's a private system.
Yeah,
That would
that's
be,
the problem, yeah.
I think what, moving forward, we'd have to talk to Robin in planning and zoning, that if people, do put these private systems in, what Robin indicated we really couldn't stop, I think we'd have to put stipulations in there to make sure that they have a hydrant maintenance program and a hydrant testing program.
Sure.
To receive credit, because
not just
right
one
now, what's happening with the company's called Insurance Services Office, right? And they do surveys of all the communities in the United States. There's probably like 5 states that don't participate. And right now, they're kind of there was a lawsuit brought by a community that had a fire in a condo complex that was a private system that hadn't been maintained, and because ISO had previously recognized that hydrant system, ISO was named in the lawsuit. So I think that, these things are going to take a different tone moving forward. And I think the residents probably don't know that they're not getting the proper credit that they should be credited for a water system.
The only other program I could think of, and I don't think it fits under the heading of this particular grant, was to have a paid EDC person to be our salesperson in town.
Yeah.
But I don't know if does that fall under the.
That I don't know. I'll ask
Remember
about
that?
yeah, I do. I don't know if we really have a budget that's strong enough to be able to handle that.
Well, that would be the grant.
That would
That's
be
what I'm
a grant.
saying. Get a year grant to hire someone to do our to be our salesperson.
Sure. But this is the way I think about it, is we need to have the right level, and I've said it a long time, we need and what you're getting at, the right level of infrastructure in place so that someone could properly broker the town, right? We've been moving in the right trajectory. We had the village center plan done. It has been a little bit of time now,
Right.
since it's been done. We've had some movement of some key properties, at least from the sale perspective, sale purchase perspective, right? If you take the property for Silverman Group and then the other, I forget his name, he came in here, it is. Ben Sunas. The 3 properties includes the Stub Hub property.
Right.
That's a major movement right there.
Yeah.
And then, but as we're kind of discussing here, infrastructure-wise, to tap into the rest of the keep the abilities to move the transition zone which will help the village center develop, because that's what it, you start with a transition zone and then you develop out into the village center, then you need something like that in place too.
Yeah.
You need to have a full ability to broker your town. I think you need to do this first before we think about something like that. I mean, that's my own.
I was just thinking of other things we've talked about that
Yeah.
we don't have money for.
Right.
And that's really the other one.
And the other thing we talked about is wayfinding, putting those signs up.
Yes,
and
that's
getting
right.
all that work.
Yes.
Ready to
Any
go.
word on the signs at all, where we are with that? I know Suffield just put up a sign on.
It's in Robin's hands
on
looking
Newgate.
It's in Robin's hands looking for a grant.
Okay.
I mean, she's
Just
got,
working on that, yeah.
our part's done. So it's Robin's got her package that when a grant comes available, she's ready to execute against it.
Yeah.
What was the name of the grant? Was it infrastructure? Or-
Yeah, I think it was almost like, the way I took it, small cities, I think it was communities under 10,000 people.
Yeah, yeah.
Small cities infrastructure improvement.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, certainly the water. I mean, maybe we should just stay focused on that.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think that's our biggest bang for the
Yeah.
buck.
It
Sure.
is.
Yeah.
And it leads the ability in a year from now, once all that's if the grant goes through, is taken in place, we step back at this time next year, we may be at that ability to really be talking about.
Right.
That particular salary. Salary is a sensitive topic, obviously, because we don't have much in our budget, but through a grant, once we have the ability to.
Well, unfortunately, in order to get into the municipal budget, in order to hit the target, Eden had to remove the money that was in there for the EDC.
Completely?
I think it was 35,000 came out.
Well, yeah, I knew that, and it dropped it to
That was, I
think
believe that was
14.
this, that was our developer. That's what that money was.
Right, because we had somebody that was shared between East Granby and Suffield at the time,
Yeah.
and that's what that was
Right.
benchmarked for, if I'm understanding what it was benchmarked for properly.
Yeah.
And then I thought that decreased to 14.
May have.
That's what I think
Yeah.
happened. That's my understanding.
Okay.
So, which wouldn't be enough,
No,
so.
I think we would want somebody a minimum of 20 hours.
Yes,
right?
that's right.
Mhm.
That's right. And it's a special person. It's a
Yeah.
person, I mean, I don't have those contacts. If I worked 100 hours a week, I couldn't
Yeah.
do that job.
Yeah. For a town our size, it's really a part-time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so.
All right, so I think that's a good plan.
All right, yeah, I'll draft the letter, I'll get it to you guys, and if we gotta tweak it or whatever, we will, but
All right.
I'll make sure that it gets to Robin, or you guys could send it to Robin.
And is
before
everybody, I just want to make sure everybody is okay with either Paul or I executing on what Carrie drafts. So everybody's in favor of that, so I can get a motion for that? We should motion.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to take Carrie's recommendation and either as written or as edited and forward that to Eden and Robin as the EDC's input for a infrastructure improvement grant.
Second it?
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
So it's a unanimous letter, unanimous.
Yep.
Yeah, good.
All right.
Great.
Okay.
No,
And then, kind of like next, I wanted to talk about Peter and Tom. Were you able to work on those Talk Turkey articles?
Yeah,
I wasn't working on it, no.
yeah.
I thought you were working on
No.
that.
what's that?
No.
Tax
East Granby
incentive?
Or was
mulch
it
and
you-
stone.
was it-
I did, yeah.
You
Yeah,
did,
I did talk to him and I did submit an article.
Okay.
you did the stone,
I did East Granby mulch and stone. I talked to Ron actually and his wife too.
Oh,
Yeah, those
very good.
they were in the Talk Turkey.
That's
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I did the wabi sabi, I want to say wabi sabi.
Say 10 times fast.
And the PC place.
Yeah.
Were those in there also?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I haven't read
Yeah.
it yet, so.
Oh, great, so we had 3 in there.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, and East Granby mulch and stone, they're doing great. They want to
Yep.
expand already. They're moving along great.
That's over down by Tire Rack, right? That is
It's
that
on
Seymour.
Seymour. Wait, it's like 33 Seymour actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the last building in our town, I think.
Pretty much, yeah, on the left-hand side right there, yeah.
And we've got one more to do, and that's the self-storage. I've gone by there a couple times, and while there's signs out there that said we're taking applications, I haven't found a warm body to speak to.
Yeah,
So,
you typically probably wouldn't. You'd
Yeah.
have to call.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll stay on it. I'll
Yeah.
follow up on that.
Yeah, they're officially not open, but it looks like they're very close.
Yep, yep. And for those who hadn't heard my story on that, it's when they first came in, because there's utilities there, I wasn't particularly keen on it, because I didn't think it was a very good source of revenue. I thought we could use the property for better income.
Yeah.
And I spoke with our assessor about it, and she told me that I was thinking wrong on that it's not taxed on the property value, it's taxed on the revenue of the renters.
Yeah.
And she said those are gold. So that was,
Yeah.
so that's actually going to be some pretty good income for us
Mhm.
from a expanding the tax base point of view. So that's a goodie.
Yeah. I'd agree, I'd 100% agree with that. They're great revenue generators when they come into town.
Yeah.
And it's-
In that regard, I think I don't remember the name of the developer who was going to do Marks, the original one with the transportation. I believe they backed out.
Mhm.
And the one that's taking its place has a couple different things, but one of them I think is a storage also on that. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
That's
it's a good place for it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like that area for development up there.
Yeah, it's
I
a
like
good,
that.
well, unless you're in Crystal right
Yeah.
there.
But there is the alternative. You can go out Russell.
Right.
I mean, you can go the other
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, I mean, it's, bless you. It's prime property.
It really
It's level
is.
with sand. I mean,
Yeah.
what's better than that?
Yeah, it's really, yeah. Well, I know what the other one, the other was a sporting complex.
Yeah, that's
That was the other one up there.
also.
A sporting complex?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm not using the right words. It was a facility that had indoor sports. And one of them, I think that kind of surprised me a little bit, was hockey. It was a ice part of that.
Was it supposed to be a bubble or a real building?
Well, that was and planning and zoning, when they were talking about it, that was really the controversy, because they're looking for a zoning change to allow that. And the planning and zoning didn't want a bubble on Route 20, which is that same zone.
Mhm.
So it was allowed to go forward. I forget what the text change was exactly, as long as it wasn't on a state street, a state road. So that kept it off of Route 20.
It's creative thinking.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty clever. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just like the concept. We get these businesses in there that we get good tax revenue and offer little services to, you know, it's a big win.
When did that happen?
The last planning and zoning, I think.
Yeah.
Was it the last one? Yeah.
June 11th?
I wish I was there. So these types of, even if you put a bubble up, it is very well documented that when you have them next to like
A
a
brewery.
plaza, like a brewery or a strip mall,
one in
it
Windsor.
really helps those businesses
Yeah.
and it grows the likelihood of you being able to fill those. If
Because
they
it's a
were
volume
built.
business. I
There's
mean,
a
there's a
real
lot of
volume,
people
it
that go
brings
through.
in quite
Yeah.
a bit.
I was amazed, this kind of digressing, but we were in Lancaster, Manheim, Pennsylvania for a basketball tournament. And they had this sports complex in the middle of an industrial complex, all warehouses. And this complex looked like a warehouse. But inside it, there was 10 basketball courts, indoor track, deck hockey, volleyball. They had a hotel inside the building and a restaurant.
Yeah.
And it was full. It was just,
Yeah.
perpetual motion.
Stanford has one too.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
My daughter swam there, but there was everything there. There was restaurants,
Yeah.
Starbucks,
Day Hill Rose has
Dudleytown.
soccer fields.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
more soccer fields. I think
Right.
it was like 4
That-
soccer fields
Yeah.
inside.
Have you been to the Dudleytown facility?
I
in
have,
Windsor there?
yeah.
I couldn't believe the amount of activity
Yeah.
there. I was shocked.
Right.
huge.
There was 3,000 people around. It was big.
I just think youth sports now has grown exponentially where kids are doing everything throughout the year, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
It's amazing.
because they have Fast Pitch Nation down there too. So the Fast Pitch Nation, and then you have the Dome, which is the training facility for Hartford Athletic.
Mhm.
And before that came in there, you did have Fast Pitch Nation. You didn't have a lot of cars coming into the businesses down there. You didn't.
Yep.
Now, it's constant.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop.
Yep.
And it's all through the evening, you know? So it creates quite a demand. And even the area strip, you know, malls, which has, there's a deli, and then there's a Mexican restaurant and something else. You know, they're seeing high, you know, increase to that foot traffic as well. There is a merit of having it visible, is what I'm getting at, something like that.
I bet the
rather than-
hotels are cashing in on it down the street.
They're gonna be building actually a hotel.
Over on Day Hill?
Yeah,
Yep,
right in front of it,
yep.
so.
Yeah, I think it's a good magnet, I really do.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Oh,
Not sure how we got on that.
it was already, well, because it got brought up, someone brought it up, and then I asked if it was already went through, if it went through planning and zoning already. I would have gone to that,
Yeah.
because I'm very for those facilities in visible places.
But Michelle, they moved it forward, right? It was not.
They did, the
Yeah,
tax
they-
amendment passed.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like you said, with the condition of not on the state highway.
Yeah,
Yep.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. I have not been able to filter, I have not been able to find through all my paperwork the different incentive plans that I had worked on. So I have moved, and I was sharing that with Paul. I had a Mac and I had it move, everything moved to a PC, and I
Yeah.
cannot figure out
Okay.
where all this stuff is. I'm really like struggling, even now, even with that, other things. So I think we're probably gonna have to start a little bit from scratch, but in the meeting before last, I believe Robin said that she would either share some information
Okay.
from other towns
Yeah.
with you on that. And I think the overall trajectory is determining what those modifications would be, and then possibly approaching Adam to execute on that.
Okay.
So I think that's really the other homework.
If we can't find anything better, we could always revisit what we have and just drop
Yeah.
the thresholds.
Yeah.
I think you need to break up. So the way I've looked at it, I've always had to sit back and say, okay, this is what we're offering. What are those categories, and how do we kind of break it up by category,
Yeah.
right? And maybe that's the first take, is that in August, I was going to bring this up. I'm not here in August. I'm leaving and I don't come back for a little bit. It's kind of unexpected. So I'm not here for the August meeting. But I think we need to bring the policy, we need to distribute the policy that we're talking about so that we can read through it, right? Number one, we're collectively looking at the same thing. So it's in front of everyone in the EDC. And talk openly about that, and what do we really think, is the right trajectory for any level of modification.
So I'll take an action so the incentive program is on our website.
It is.
So I'll do two things. I'll get a link to that I'll send to everybody, just so they don't have to go hunting for it, because I know where it is. And the other thing is, at the time, Adam made, I'll call it a cheat sheet for us. And it was a 2-page PowerPoint that took 8 pages of, number 10 font and boiled it down to, just 2 PowerPoint slides to describe what the program is. I think I can put my hand on that too. So if I can, I'll send the link out, but also the PowerPoint, because it's easy to get twisted around with that incentive. But the PowerPoint was, I thought, pretty, it provided some clarity.
And Adam's also worked with the other towns, and just generally what he does. It's too bad he's not here, because it's worth kind of tapping into him a little bit to get some ideas, and where can we,
Maybe he'll make a cameo for us. He can dial in and just walk us through it.
yeah.
Were you guys able to click on the link I sent? I didn't send it till like 3:30, 3:45, but there's a link, and Robin shared the incentive programs from a lot of surrounding towns.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So there's
I missed that. I was probably out of the
There's
office.
probably 7 or 8 different towns and their incentive programs. It's sort of a shared drive, so you click on it, it'll say town of Enfield.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly which town's there, and then you can see each incentive program. But she wanted me to share that with you guys too.
Welcome to OneDrive.
That's it.
So on that, on OneDrive.
It came from you?
Yes.
It was a link, I can't, I'll have to.
Well, the drive itself was from Robin through Tyke Planning, but she asked me to share the link. I was able to open it on my computer here.
I'll send you another email address to send it to
Okay.
for me. I won't be able to open that.
Well, if you're not a OneDrive user, you can't open it.
Yeah, you'll have to download OneDrive, right?
Oh, is it strictly OneDrive?
That's what it
Yeah.
says.
No, but I got to open it on a webpage.
It didn't ask you about
No,
OneDrive?
I wouldn't open
no,
it.
it tells me I'm on the OneDrive site, but it's not asking me to open an app or anything.
Maybe you already have OneDrive active on your
Uninstalled,
phone.
But I'm still in the Safari tab. So I'm
Yeah,
not even in the
that's
OneDrive.
Right.
So it seems to be working fine.
You access through your Safari browser, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, if anybody needs me to send it again or
Okay, mine
whatever,
open.
let me know.
And so that's the other towns that it's talking
It
about?
is.
Does it have the copy of the policy, our
Our,
policy?
I don't think ours is in
Wait on
there.
here.
It was what she had, I think you guys had asked her at
Yeah,
a previous
yeah.
meeting to share some
This is-
from
that
other
was,
towns.
That was May, yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's what that is.
Yeah, I think we really need to look at ours.
Yeah.
If you can find that PowerPoint,
Yeah,
and then
I'm pretty
let's get
sure I
that
can put
all
my
in
hand
the
on those
agenda. I could help, I'll work on that agenda now. And then, are you able to be here for, and run the August meeting?
What's the date of the August meeting?
19th, I think.
Is it the 19th? I feel like it's later. Is it the 26th?
The third Monday would be the 19th.
Yep, there's Monday, 19.
Let me check the calendar.
26th is what I
Yep,
call my
that's what I have.
calendar.
Yeah, 26.
Oh, so that one was set out different than what we say it's going to be.
What do you mean?
Isn't it the third, don't we?
No, we're fourth. Today's the
Oh,
fourth.
the last
we're fourth
Monday.
Monday. All right. I am here,
Oh,
so I will be back by
get
then.
all excited.
Sorry. I thought we were on the,
Yeah.
I'm confusing with another competitor. So it must be the third.
So in relation to that, I made a few calls. I went back to my comfort zone where I was most familiar. So I talked to the EDC director in Naugatuck. And Naugatuck does not have any program, tax incentive program for the extension of utilities, infrastructure utilities. What they've done, and they're in a different financial situation than we are, but when they've, created there were two large industrial parks in some of the other areas. If they didn't have water and sewer, the town, at their expense, put them in and then reflected that in the sale price of the property.
Yeah, so they put a lien.
Pardon?
They put a lien on it.
Yeah, I guess, right?
To get recouped through the.
Yeah.
Way to do it.
And then Middlebury, which has a lot of similarities to us, a little bit bigger, and they've had the same controversy with development of some sites, such as we had with a warehouse proposal. They had a website, and I tried to call their EDC chairman. I haven't heard back from him. I don't know if he's on vacation, but their incentive program looked pretty much similar to ours, that if somebody added on or built a new building, added machinery or whatever, that they had an incentive. I didn't see anything about infrastructure improvements.
Yeah.
And I'll continue to make calls to see if we can find anything.
I've seen trust created that
Oh,
get
yeah.
funded. That's another way I've seen that happen for various different items, including infrastructure.
Yeah.
And it was only, so when infrastructure was needed, it was gradual.
Okay.
And so if the trust, as the trust built, it had to be at a certain percentage to the cost, so you didn't overdraw the trust or draw too much from it. But I don't know, I don't think that's the right avenue for us.
It would be hard in a small community to
That'd be
build
hard.
that
That's my
chest,
point.
so to speak,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we're going the wrong direction on our cash reserve. We've brought it down, not up.
Correct.
So that's,
Yeah. All right. Well, I think they'll see what happens with the
Yeah.
grant. Go from there.
all right, good.
I really don't have anything else for discussion. Do you, Paul?
Just on the, I noticed on that, I don't know if everybody had a chance to read the EDC report, I noticed Bramble Bush,
Yes.
6 units framed, 11 foundations. So I didn't realize it was that far along. So
Yeah, they're
that's
moving
kinda-
right along.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You know, their plan is to have them all built. They're not gonna phase it, it's just gonna be
Just
one
gonna-
fell swoop.
Yep.
And I was also reading in the Turkey News that the grant for School Street got increased to 3.5 million.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I saw that, yeah.
Holy guacamole.
Yeah.
Got increased to
That's
what?
like double,
3.5 million.
that's more than double, right? Was
No,
it
no, it's
1.2?
2.87,
Oh,
so.
it's 2.8?
So
700,000
roughly, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nothing to sneeze at.
Wow. But elevated
So-
sidewalk.
And I'm gonna ask a stupid question, because I don't know the answer. We have the center plan developed. Looks like we have some funding to kick it off. What is the next step? How is this going to start to move?
Yeah, that's a fine question.
And the reason I ask that is right now, we're in a holding area where those
Yeah.
warehouses and apartments are
Yeah.
gonna go. You know, from my perspective, I think the town needs to make some kind of movement or statement on this to kick this off because we knew if those warehouses and those apartments went in, how it might have had a negative effect on that center plan, so.
So are you asking about School Street or?
School Street,
Yeah,
yeah.
because in today's Turkey News that I got, they said that they increased the funding
Yeah.
and that they're sending it out to design.
Okay, so
So
it
they
is
are
starting to
moving
move.
down that way, and it is moving
Okay.
forward.
So the design is, once again, is mainly infrastructure. It's going to be sidewalks, streets, sewer, water.
Yeah, I think it's what Robin said last meeting.
Lighting. Yeah.
Lighting.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but your question's still a good one, because I'm often haunted by something that the Goman and York said at their final meeting.
Yeah.
And that was that School Street does not lend itself to be the center of your town,
Yeah, no, I understand, yeah.
you know? And I mean, it's just, we always had the idea that that was gonna be, you know, the center of things, but just because of the buildings that are there and the shape of it and the kind of the elbow room you
Right,
have.
right, yeah.
So when you asked the question, it was, okay, so now School Street's
Yeah.
got this, so what do you do with that?
Yeah, yeah.
What does that, you know, does that, I guess that connects the School Street apartments over to the government buildings. It would
Right.
connect anything Silverman did
Right.
over to the government buildings, so that's all good news.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all good
no,
stuff.
Absolutely,
But it's, what's next is a fine question.
yeah.
I mean, that's a big project when, you know, moving to, you know, School Street too, around the back of the plaza there,
Yes,
too.
that's
I
right.
mean,
Yep, around to Cumberland to make
that's
that
a massive
four-way.
project.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
big project.
Yeah, no, it's all
So-
good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's all good stuff, but from an EDC point of view of how does that better us? You know, so what does that mean for us?
I think it has to do with how you define, your town center too. It was, if I remember from that report, you can have your New England town center,
Town green.
or you can have your kind of more, what you see in more recent type of developments going to the future. It's like it's really centered across sections,
Yep.
right?
Like West Hartford, you
Like
think,
West
where it's
Hartford,
built
yeah.
up.
Right,
There's no
yeah.
green per se. or-
Right, you don't have to have
Yeah.
the green to mean that you have the town center. I mean, so
Right.
that would be, where 20 and 187 cross, and then they were talking about that lot that was next to the Congregational Church,
Right.
and then you have the ability to really do something there, right?
What School Street does, though, I mean, it does collect,
It can.
right? So it's we've got that it's going to be the four-way intersection at Cumberland.
Right.
So all of Bramble Bush and North Meadow and Crystal
Right.
River, whatever it is there, all sidewalk-wise now come down the new School Street to the center. So it does collect our population or allow for, the village center plan talked about, being able to walk around and, you know, you don't have to drive to the center of town, you walk there, you have populations close to the center of town. So
Right.
that's what it does, I guess, really, in
I
hindsight.
think in
it
the
collects-
overall, you have
Yeah.
to see what ends up happening with all this development, with
Yeah.
all the grant funds, the realignment, the sidewalks, Silverman,
But that, I mean,
The
somebody could
lots
push it.
across the street.
Yeah.
You have to,
Yeah,
you
somebody
have to
That
figure-
triangle piece of land would be more viable too.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's always been a challenging.
I mean, somebody could push a baby carriage
But
from
now
Crystal River
it'll
to
change that,
J&G's.
you know,
You know,
definitely make that a
that's-
little bit more viable from
The
a
thing
marketing
that
standpoint.
I have concerns about with the center plan and everything that's going on is we have this piece of the puzzle, this piece of the puzzle, this piece of the puzzle. But and correct me if I'm wrong, we really don't have a picture of what we envision it to finally look like, do we?
Well, that's going to be, the town policies sort of dictate facade to a degree, right? I went through that myself, you know. Have you've gone on any updates with from a business perspective?
No.
All right, so, yeah, I mean, there is a level in which you're like, yeah, but you need to put a cupola up there. And I go like, okay.
I mean, I've had
Yeah.
past experiences. in
Yeah,
towns and
so
stuff like that.
that's,
Yeah.
that's,
Oh, yeah.
there is
Yeah.
a uniformity that starts to.
But we don't have an architectural like review committee or anything like that in this town that would sort of say, hey, you know, I mean, certain towns I know have certain architecture, they want to sort of keep it like, oh, you know, 1880 or prior architecture, or do they want it modern, or, you know, what's their future
Village
look
Center
like?
does that. I mean, that's in there.
And,
in the
yeah,
plan.
historic districts and things like that,
Yeah.
but
Nothing specifically.
but we
in
don't
there.
have like a review committee that says.
I don't think there's like a side review committee, and that's what you're getting at.
But it's sort of
I
in the
do
background?
believe it's-
You're saying it's in the background?
It's in the
Sort of?
background of the
Okay.
decisions that are being made.
Okay.
And the Village Center plan does talk about, I can't think of the wording exactly, but it does talk about the type of architecture. And there's artist conceptions.
Like the vertical aspect of it and all
Yeah.
that too, yeah.
And there's artist conceptions of what the Village Center, or the Geo's shopping center.
Center shops.
Center shops, thank you.
Yeah.
What that could look
With the
like.
L on it and the second
With the L on
floor
it, as
or-
well
yeah.
as the liquor cabinet, because when, the nice thing about School Street getting changed, the end of that, well, School Street itself, I suppose, where it comes out on Route 20,
Yeah.
that's property that the town owns that could be sold to somebody to develop the other part of that parking lot.
How much land is there?
Oh, it's got to be, I don't know, 150 feet by 100, I don't know exactly. I mean, it's this street, especially
It's
if,
like a half acre, it's not huge, but, yeah.
yeah, maybe a
Yeah,
half
something like
acre.
that, Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's an ideal location because you got Route 20 and.
Oh, yeah, it's a very good location.
Perfect, yeah.
Visibility.
And it could dress up that shopping center too.
Right.
Yeah.
You could dress that up. Yeah, it's all directionally correct.
I just like to see,
Yeah.
let's
Yep, yep.
move ahead.
Well, we can envision whatever we want to envision, but the bottom line is the developers are the ones that are going
With
to
the bigger
carry the
vision,
vision. They're going to carry it, you know?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, even when they come up with grand designs like Blueback, you got a whole bunch of opposition and all that.
Oh, God, you
You always
remember
gonna
that?
have a- yeah.
10, 40, 20 years ago now, probably, right? When
Yeah.
it first started, you know, there was some people would say it was going to be the death of West Hartford, and it's been the opposite, if anything,
It's
right?
booming, yeah.
Yeah. David, the only other thing I have is just to do with the farmer's market. We still could use some volunteers. So it's every Friday in August and September, and there's activities Thursday night through Friday night. So setting up signs, and there's plenty to do. Maybe what I'll do when I send out this incentive, I'll also send out the link to the sign up to see if anybody's got some time to, you know, you gotta put out,
Again,
yeah, put tape out, and so cars can't drive through, and, you know.
So you
there's-
start that the day before?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of 1-hour activities that need to be done.
Is there a requirement that we have to be on site during the farmer's market?
No, well, it depends upon what the activity is.
Yeah.
It's not all of them, no.
Okay.
There's some of them are, so for example, Thursday night, somebody's got to go there, put up cones to cordon off the area so the commuters don't park under the trees Friday morning, which means we can't, we can't move their cars, so there's things like that.
So the farmer's market's theoretically on the grass?
No, it's,
No, it's in the lot?
yep, it's
Okay.
really the corner of the liquor cabinet, if you were to take that building and the edge of that building, go to Route 20, from there
The
over.
northwest corner.
Northwest, okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep, so there's plenty of stuff, that the signs around town, Thursday night, go around and put a today, so
Yeah.
the signs are already up, but you put a today sticker on it so people know it's today, so there's lots of little
Yeah.
stuff that needs to be done.
I'll talk to you about that, Paul.
Okay.
I mean, I
Yep.
can
Yep.
look at my schedule and.
Yep, thank you. Yep. Yeah, there's a sign-up sheet that's very easy to use if all the, let's say 4 people are needed for something, if there's already 4, that's not an available
Yeah.
spot, but if there's only 3 signed up, we need 1 more person to do something.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay,
I'll send that out too.
yeah, great.
The only thing that came to my mind is, and we'll call it the end of the meeting, the properties, he went for a text amendment with the 2 properties, Ken,
Mm-hmm.
was that text amendment approved?
I believe it was, right?
It was modified, Michelle help me, they could have 3 drive-ins within a
On one parcel.
5-acre parcel.
Okay.
I think that's what it
that's
was.
what his intent was. right?
Yeah, so it's kind of, it was a compromise,
It was it got
Yeah.
approved with conditions.
that-
and-
because originally it was 1 per acre, so it allowed for 5, I think, but then they limited it to 3.
Okay.
I believe that's what it was.
And how will that impact the property, the smaller one? Will it still allow the 2?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Yeah, it's really for the property across the street that he hasn't brought to us yet.
Okay.
That's the one that really impacts the most.
Okay.
Yeah, his plans for the south side, I think, was 1 and 1, one type A and one type B.
Okay. All right. Good. And hopefully we see some movement there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yep,
absolutely.
yep,
That'd be great.
yep.
All right. Well, do we have a motion to call an end to this meeting?
Yeah, I make a motion to end tonight's meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Very good.